All right, folks. I got a great show for you today. I got John Pounders from Now You See TV and Jake and Jelly. You know him as a capital shaman. I can't say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. Capital shaman who's suing Trump and the government for $40 trillion. Let me say that again. $40 trillion. Why? Because, folks, I'm about to bring on the real president of the United States in just a second. But first, folks, I see him laughing in the background. But first, get your mind expander right here. Look at this. Bing, mind expander. I got the link down there below. I'm giving it to my parents. I take it every day, 3 times a day. C60, carbon 60 atom. I want to talk to you about something that's close to my heart, and I know so many of you struggle with this as well. As you get older, your memory naturally starts to fade. Little things slip away, and sometimes you feel like you're becoming just like your parents. Well, that's why I take Mind Expander, not only for myself, but also for them, to help hold on to those last precious memories in the final years of their lives. And let me tell you, folks, I've been on this, and they've been on this for the last 3 months, and I have not seen a sharp decline. They've been steady with a little bit of improvement. So I'm happy with this right here. I know it's doing something. It works because it gives your brain what it really needs to stay sharp. Glutathione, the body's master antioxidant, which helps to detoxify and calm inflammation in the brain and all over the body. My back pain went from like a 7 to a 9 in pain. I'm down to a 1 or a 3 on the very worst days. ATP, your cells' natural energy, which fuels focus and mental clarity. So it has these two things, glutathione and ATP, and obviously the C60. Together, they help reduce brain fog, slow down cognitive decline, and support memory. It's not caffeine or a stimulant. That's important. It's clean, natural brain support your body can also actually use. For me, it's about giving my parents and myself the best chance to keep the moments that truly matter. Hit the link down below and get started on it. All right, so folks, I got a great show today. I'm bringing on the Shaman, and I love this guy, man. He's absolutely brilliant. I consider him a friend. I gotta say, man, I think he's in Sedona. I think he's somewhere in Arizona, but I need to get out there and visit this guy and go on a spiritual journey. And I also got John Pounders, who's going to be joining me as well. So we're going to have a round table with all of us. And so I hope you all enjoy this. Let's bring them on. Jake and John, how you guys doing, man?
Good.
Doing fantastic.
Man, John, I got to say, I love doing shows with you, man, because you pick up awesome rebounds and you shoot some good threes. And, you know, it takes a lot of pressure off me, man.
Well, hey, man, no, I appreciate it. I'm glad to do it. I saw your last interview with the shaman, and so I'm excited to see, to ask some questions on my own and just kind of like see what he's talking about here, because this is wild stuff, man.
Let's get started. Jake, thank you so much for joining us, man. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy day, because you are bingo, the president of the United States, baby.
I told you. I already told you last time, but now I'm, it's becoming official, and I know that may sound funny, but what people got to realize is that the system is just ink on paper, baby. That's all that it is. It's ink on paper and what's in between our ears of being affected by that ink on paper. Can you dig?
Right. So what we're going to get into here is basically you've been running the country from where?
Well, not really anymore. For a while I was. I've since, basically said, hey, look, Trump, you guys want it? Here you go. You can have the corporate United States of America. I'm taking the United States Constitutional Republic over here. I'm going to do my own thing until people wake up.
Okay, but so we're going to get into all of this, and I'm going to let John start with the first couple questions to kick this off, because I've already done a podcast with you, and it was awesome. It was fire. So here we go. Let's get what do you have to say? Let's just first start off like this. So I'll just ask the first question. What do you say to the people that are right now in the post saying this is absolutely fucking bananas? This is crazy. This guy's lost his marbles. He's off his rocker. What do you have to say to them first and foremost? Let's address that first. Have you been tested psychologically? You're not off your rocker, correct?
No, I'm not off my rocker. I'll let your audience decide for themselves. Which is more insane? Trusting a government that has a track record of abusing its citizens to do anything other than that, or doing something different and trying a different approach? Because as far as I'm concerned, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So, I'm doing something different here.
Here's my opinion on you. I think you're extremely intelligent. I think you're like probably an insane astronomical IQ, but I think you may just be too smart. Does that make sense? Like, I think you might be a little too smart, Jake, and I think it's kind of went, you know what I mean? Like, you may be too fucking smart for your own good. And what I mean by that is, I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying, do you think maybe there might be a little bit of paranoia there or something like that? Maybe you might be like, this sounds crazy to people that never heard any of this. To me, I'm like, how can anybody sue the government and the president for $40 trillion and believe he's going to get away with that or actually do it?
First of all, make it clear, it's not just the president and the government. Those are just 2 people out of the 12 that I'm suing. Or the 12 entities, rather. The Federal Reserve Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the Bank of International Settlements are all there. Okay, and that's hence where the 40 trillion is going to come from. It's going to come from the people that are running and controlling the Federal Reserve, the IMF, the World Bank. Basically, the corrupt banking cartels that have been lending our country money at interest, and doing so for decades. All the while, they're trafficking our kids. All the while, they're literally sending our money overseas. So I'm just saying, which is crazier? Continuing to do what we've been doing and isn't working, or doing something that is different. Now, if you look at the legal precedent for what it is that I'm doing, 40 trillion actually is reasonable. I mean, if $38 trillion in debt is reasonable to ask for, then $40 trillion for payment for abuse is reasonable.
Are you doing this for attention, or are you doing this is this for real? This is a real lawsuit. Are you doing this? You kind of have a smirk on your face like, yeah. Are you just kind of throwing shit on the wall to see what sticks? Are you really, is this a serious lawsuit? Have you already filed it?
Have you read the lawsuit?
I have not, and that's to my fault.
You haven't. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask that question. So the answer is yes. It's a very serious lawsuit. What you got to understand, dude, is that DARPA's in here, and what is in here. Okay, and what happened?
All right, let's not talk about that on Fluff 2, please. Just keep it safe on Fluff 2.
No, I got you. I'm just letting you know that is in the lawsuit. I'm suing DARPA as well because of what they did. All right, and that is acting as evidence once again of this parallel system that is not the American government, that is not in the American interest, that is actually surrendering America's money and our population's hard-earned time, energy, dollars, whatever, over to the people that own the Fed. Less than 1% of the population. Okay. And the thing is, and this is important for your audience to understand, the only way out of this is by rewriting the code, right? And that's essentially what my lawsuit does, is it's a rewriting of the code. It's an arresting of the bad stuff in the code. It's arresting of the bad code and showing how it's bad, and then showing how, this is what we're going to do to get out of it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more question and let John ask here. But do you have a great attorney? Are you acting as your self-appointed attorney? Like, what are you using a great legal team?
No, dude, it's just me and God.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And that's all that you need. Trust me, that's all you need.
Hey, why not? Shit. Go ahead, John.
All right. Yeah, but I have some questions. I actually wrote down some notes from your guys' last interview because I just kind of wanted to get a where you're at in your head and where you're at going forward and all this. So I remember you mentioning in your last interview that you were in communications with the Trump team via email. You've been back and forth with them. You mentioned that you were the president, and you also mentioned that you are an avatar, almost like a Messiah type avatar in all of those interviews. And you said that, you basically had been advising all the people for a time, and then you were done. You were tired of it. You were done. My question to you, you actually mentioned super soldiers too. That's another key word that I remember. And I'll tell you why I brought that up here in a minute, but did you believe all this stuff before the whole January 6th thing, or was this something that you developed over time, being when you were in solitary confinement and such?
No. This is something that was going on before 2020 and before I was arrested. Your simplification of our last interview is let's just say the details do matter. But long story short, what you gotta look, how you gotta see it is this: who I am, it doesn't really matter. What I believe doesn't really matter. Okay, what matters is you and what you believe. Okay, and unfortunately, what you and most of the country believe is based on misinformation, because the real truth that the government is trying to keep from you is never going to get to you through any other source. Okay, so when I talk about 0 point energy, when I talk about Tesla Tower technology, when I talk about cures for cancer, or age regression technology, or if I start talking about even gold-backed currency and stuff like that, already there's red flags within the government, okay, that they then flag me and everything I say and do. Okay, now there's ways of using me as an individual, especially given my non-compliance with tyranny and with the psychotronic abuse. There's ways of using me to create strategic intel leaks that then allow the intel community to start moving forward because of the things that are being done on the other side. Okay, if you are going to run a very sophisticated, highly classified, covert intel leak operation, where you want this really classified technology to finally get a chance to make its way into the public, then you can do it either by taking the hit and talking about it in spite of your NDA or your security clearance, and then you go to prison for 20 years and nobody's going to hear anything about it anyway, right? Or you can figure out a way to get somebody like me that doesn't have an NDA, doesn't have a security clearance, but understands all this shit, to just not stop talking. Okay, now that is going to anger some people in the government, and it's also going to liberate others to do more. Okay, and if I don't mind suffering in between now and then I can continue to suffer and push the ball along. Okay,
So are you saying, like, just so I can get a kind of clear picture of what you're saying here, are you saying that you are being used kind of like a piece? Is that what you're saying? You're being used?
That's the way. That's what I'm getting. That's the way that it was for a while, for a long while, even into 2020 and after, and after I went to prison and when I got out, when I was helping the Trump administration, etc. Okay, but only recently have I been like, okay, you know what? Look at it like this: the people, the government wanted a weapon, the people needed a hero, so I became both. I took essentially what the government did to me, whether it be through what you want to call the super soldier program or whatever, and the psychotronic weapon abuse. That's essentially what it is. Okay, and the way that it can sculpture a bioplasmic field to basically be like an unstoppable force. Okay, so we can go into the details on that, but all that really matters is that you guys understand that this is a part of something that has been going on since before 2020. It's now in a new phase where essentially I'm working independent, because our government cannot be seen technically to have really anything to do with me, you see? And if they do, and it's anything that's negative, that's all the stuff that's in the lawsuit, then I'm able to come in and say, hey, see, I know you guys have been gang stalking me because of these things I've been talking about, okay? Now, because of that, I essentially have the government by the balls, because I have a legal case that proves that they have been unconstitutionally violating my rights, that they have been targeting me as an individual because I'm trying to create a free market change. You see, so it proves that, number one, the government is controlling the market. Number two, that the debt-based petrodollar is loyal to something other than the American people. Number three, that they're willing to violate the Constitution, not just of the individual, but of the masses all the time in order to preserve this system. You see, and that is essentially what is in the lawsuit. And the reason why that is the case, or the reason why that it being the case is advantageous for me, and why I'm saying, like, or all of us, and I'm saying I'm the president, is because what you got to understand, dude, is that is a completely illegitimate legal system. Okay, there's every reason to say it's illegitimate. That's what the lawsuit is about. Okay, and the debt-based petrodollar, the Federal Reserve, is unconstitutional, just like the United States becoming a corporation in 1871 was unconstitutional. Okay, so according to Marbury versus Madison, 1803 Supreme Court decision, all laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. So if Ulysses S. Grant or Woodrow Wilson and the Congress at the time created a new law or whatever that was repugnant to the Constitution. It doesn't matter if everybody else has played along with it. What that means is that essentially they chose to unman the U.S. Constitution. They chose to unman that republic, and then they created this corporate entity that everybody chose to man, which means that this unmanned system over here is now available. And the only person that has any sort of legal standing at this point that hasn't shown any real loyalty to this other bad system, but has shown all loyalty to this one is me.
One more question. One more question that I had before you move on with all of that, because this is like, you talk about super soldiers, and like in some of my research, in fact, not just me, but people, some people will know this name. Nino, you should probably know this name because you watched that video that I did about the what they call the dark awakening, and he coined the term super soldiers as these people who were being mind control altered, and they are scheduled for breakout at some point, to where they are going to be kind of triggered to the point of doing different things. And some of them believe that they're acting on their own. Some of them believe that they're part of this program, and they have different alters and different mindsets. My question to you, and because I'm curious, because I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of them sound very similar to what you're talking about here. Were you programmed with multiple personalities to be able to pull off different type things, or do you know if that's even the case, since you were being used at some point by the government?
Well, it wasn't so much that I was being used. Okay, let's understand that they came to me, they asked me to help, and I volunteered. I said, yeah, sure, I'll help. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're right about this idea regarding like people being activated. What you got to understand here is we are talking about basically different element program. Okay, there's sex kittens, Marilyn Monroe, hot celebrities. They're spies basically for the government. They can sleep with people, they get information, they bring it back, whatever, right? Then you got like the sleeper agents, like the mass shooter types, right? These people are designed to take the fall and to create mass casualty events. Okay, and the last thing you're talking about, the super soldier program, that's where instead of with the sex kitten, you can turn her personality on. You can make her just like a wild animal in bed. With the super soldier, you can make it to where they don't feel any fear or any pain, right? And they just keep going. They're not afraid to die, kind of thing, right? And yes, this can be kind of stuff, but my mind doesn't quite work the way everybody else's does, all right? And so that's kind of part of the reason for all the abuse that has taken place, is because I have been non-compliant with a lot of the programming that they've attempted to push on me. But in my personal case, no, there's no split personality. There's no, alters or anything like that. Though that is a part of say the sleeper agent, or even in this case, the sex kitten, or some of the super soldiers. Yeah. The idea is to compartmentalize a portion of a person's brain so that that portion, for either war or sex or for some terrible tragedy that they're supposed to commit, that is then something that's compartmentalized and controlled by the government through something called psychotronic weaponry, or neuroelectromagnetic weapons. And believe it or not, these things right here, these black mirrors of ours, basically neuroelectromagnetic weapons that we're carrying around, or at least they can be deployed as a neuroelectromagnetic weapon. So in my case, yes, there was a certain level of activation that took place, and it was more so that I was asked to help, and I agreed. And then all sorts of other stuff started to happen. And then recently, having seen America and myself get stabbed in the back repeatedly by this administration, that was enough to make me basically step back and then, in quote unquote, activate myself and say, okay, you know what? If nobody else is going to save me in the country, then I'm going to save me in the country, because these motherfuckers are trying to kill me, dude.
So you're going rogue.
No, actually, I'm going president.
Okay, so for the people that didn't tune into the last program that you and I did, that are new, that don't know what's going on, can you explain to them your affiliation with Trump, how you were running the presidency of the United States, how you were doing this, where you were doing it from, just so everyone can catch up? Because I think we neglected that. We should have talked about that. How were you running the country? From where were you running the country? Because you explained it the last time, but explain it for anybody who's new here right now.
Long story short, through an app on my phone, the WinRed app or the WinRed website, where you can send Trump messages to his campaign and to his, people. I was sending them messages, very good strategic messages, political strategy messages, and they were taking my advice. Okay, I've given all sorts of examples in the last interview. I'm not going to get into it here. Suffice to say, I was also advising the president while he was president, and much of the things that I was saying we should do were what were being done. And I was basically running the country. I was working. Oh, go ahead.
But you weren't talking to him directly. You were talking to him through messages on an app, correct?
Yes, it was through this app. Right, exactly. So there's covert, it's covert. There's plausible deniability. At any time, they could say, we don't know him. He's crazy. And that's basically what they tried to do, okay? But the thing is I got all the messages on my phone, all right? So, like, think about this. Imagine if I said a bunch of biblical verses or sent a bunch of biblical verses or I quotes and stuff to the administration for like almost a year. And then when they finally get in office and they're doing the inauguration, a bunch of those quotes and biblical verses and stuff that I sent to them end up in the ceremony. Okay. All right. Things like that happened all the time. They took my advice on you got 2 weeks. Only instead of using it for America and helping to keep our people safe by getting, helping to incentivize the leaving of a bunch of illegal immigrants, saying, hey, you got 2 weeks to get out. Instead of that, they used it for Israel and said, you got 2 weeks to release all the hostages. Otherwise, all hell's going to break loose.
So they were reading your messages that you were sending to Trump covertly through this app, right? And basically they were reading it, and then you're telling me, my audience, John, everybody, that he was picking up on he was taking your messages and using it within that 2 week period of time every time, or did he miss some?
No,
or was
dude, sometimes it would happen that day. Sometimes it would happen that day. I'll give you an example. Like, that day that I sent that message about you got 2 weeks, right? It happened that day. Like, I sent it at 9 a.m. and like, I think it was at like noon or something like that he said that stuff. All right. So like, what you got to understand here is that it got to a point to where it was very inconspicuous on their end and on my end. They got really fucking sloppy and started acting like I wasn't going to do shit if they kicked me to the curb. Started acting like I wasn't going to say shit if they pretended I didn't exist. All right. And that's essentially what happened and the funny thing is, dude, is I told them in the messages, dude, I said, look, bro, I know you guys are taking my advice. I know we're all having fun here, but I would like a job because I'm fucking broke. And you guys are acting like I don't exist. And you're taking my advice on this stuff, but you're not really not really helping me out. But look, I don't care about the credit is what I said. I don't care about the credit.
You're running the country and they're getting all the money. That doesn't seem like a good deal to me.
No, dude, it's not about the money. What it was about was, like, for example, when they pulled that DJ kid out and they started taking photos with him, the kid with the tumors on his head, when they were taking photos with that kid, the Secret Service and all these cops and stuff, the government, I sent them a message and they were taking my advice on all this other stuff. I sent them a message and I said, this is a perfect time to get that kid DJ some cures, to get him some frequency cures. We can shrink tumors with frequency. This is a perfect time. Take him over to RFK Jr. We can disclose this to the public. This is a great time to release this stuff to the public. Dude, ignored me, acted like I didn't say a damn thing, and then keep parading this kid around, taking pictures with him. And then he's going into surgery. He's doing like things like chemo and stuff. So it's like, look, when things like that happen, when they didn't release the Epstein files, all this stuff was very, very problematic to me. And so I was like, look, basically I'm out. I'm not doing this. Well, go ahead.
Do you at least wish they would have given you some credit and recognition?
No, I don't care. That was the thing. I don't care about the credit, bro. What matters to me is that they're not doing what's right. Do you understand? They are playing political theater, you guys. I'm telling you, they're playing political theater. They're lying to you. They are lying to you in every way.
Are they still listening to you? Or are they not listening to you at all anymore? Are they just ignoring you?
I'll put it to you this way. The other day, I came out talking about something about cannabis and the rescheduling of cannabis. And then a day or two later, Donald Trump talks about the rescheduling of cannabis. Okay? It's mimicry. Okay? And you can look at it like they're trying to help save America, or you can look at it like they are mocking me because they're not actually doing anything. Okay, you got these people talking about a government shutdown because of healthcare. Okay. Then you got all these other people talking about illegal immigrants. And all the while I'm sitting here thinking, hold on a second. Why don't we just release the cures for cancer? Because that'll just totally change the medical industry overnight, and fuck big pharma, right? And why don't we keep the government going? That way, you know, people don't lose their benefits and we can just solve the problem, as opposed to constantly playing tennis and everybody except these less than 1%ers loses. So when I tell you that they're lying to you, when I tell you that like this is all a script, that shit in Portland, script. That stuff in LA, script. Okay? Think about it like this. That dude was on top of a police car, bro, with his shirt off, waving a Mexican flag on top of a police car that's on fire, and it went national. Where's the arrests? Well, I spent 27 months behind bars, and
That's
I
a
actually was
valid
the
point.
coolest.
That's a valid point. Did they never arrest that guy?
I was the coolest and the calmest head on January 6th. I was trying to help the cops, and they sent me to prison for 27 months, dude. They put me in solitary for 10 and a half. And no, that guy's never been arrested. Nothing happened. Okay. So, and that's in Trump's administration. That's in Trump's administration, bro. So like, don't tell me that these people care about the Americans or that they care about getting rid of bad guys. All right. What they care about is their image. And that is evident based on the way they treated me and the way they're treating this DJ kid and stuff.
So in your lawsuit, are you looking to oust Trump, sue the government for $40 trillion? Are you looking to be installed as president, or are you?
No, you got to read
You're
the
the
lawsuit.
shadow president, basically, is what you're saying.
No, you got to read the lawsuit. Okay. What you got to understand is this. Okay. The system that we're talking about that Trump is in charge of, right, is essentially a corporation. Okay. And it is a corporation that has been made by creating like a diversion from the Constitution in the portion that it says the government has the ability to quote unquote regulate commerce between the states. What has happened is that people took that little part and they created like a diversion, and then they created a whole system based on this idea of regulating commerce. And this is where we get the bureaucracy. This is where we get these corporations coming in and controlling the American economy through the government's monopoly on force. Does that make sense?
I understand all of that, and it's very valid. I get that.
Okay, so
question my audience. Go ahead. Finish.
No, go ahead. I want to clarify. Go ahead.
The question that my audience is going to be like, I don't really understand how he thinks he was running the country from an app, and I just wish you would elaborate on that a little more.
Respectfully, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay, all
that's
matters.
Going to be very important.
Then have them follow the lawsuit. Have them watch your last episode. It's not my problem. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to move on from where we were last time. I'm not trying to go over from where we were last time. Okay. I thought I did a sufficient job.
But you did. But you're saying you were running the country. People are going to say like, well, hold on. Did he ever meet with Trump? Did you ever meet face to face with Trump, handshake, and say, I'm going to take the helm of the ship, do as I say? You're just assuming he was reading your messages and doing what you said in those messages. Correct? Do I have it right?
No, you don't. You need to read the lawsuit is what you need to do. Okay. Okay. So do that, and then maybe we could talk more. But look at it like this, okay?
I don't know.
Look at it like this, bro. The system is illegitimate. Everybody knows the system is illegitimate. The debt-based currency system is unconstitutional. That's called bad code, bad legal code, okay? Now, if you understand the way that the Masons work, if you understand that the secret societies, the Masons, are behind a lot of these laws and these legal systems, they're also behind the banking systems, they're also behind the corporate systems. When you understand all of these people and how they work and their systems and how it's all related to things like Saturn and how it's related to code or law, okay? And how it is that if you learn how their game is played, you can play it better. Then you can get to this level of understanding where you realize that they know that their system is bullshit.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not
just
debating
hold
you
on.
on
Just
that.
listen to me. Just listen to me. Okay.
But I understand that the problem you're going to have here is convincing them you were really running the country. That's all I'm saying.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. You asked me to come on the show to talk about the lawsuit, and you didn't even read it. I love you, but you didn't even read it. So it's like, are we going to talk about the lawsuit, Or are we going to talk about me convincing people that I was running the country for a couple of months?
Well,
What does
that's
it matter?
in the lawsuit, correct?
No, not really. What's in the lawsuit actually is the harassment campaign that took place after I refused to work with the Trump administration anymore because they were so corrupt. That's what's in the lawsuit.
So what kind of harassment were they giving you once you decided to stop doing that, man? Because last time you talked, I remember at the end you were saying that you saw two possible timelines. You saw a timeline where everything went crap and, you know, AI took over, and then a timeline where people woke up. And so when I hear that, then you say now you're saying you're doing a $40 trillion lawsuit. And so you're getting that money. Like, I guess if you get that money, $40 trillion, first off, is that really sacrificing yourself? Or are you giving up your, because it seems like it basically, in your mind, it hinged upon your decision to decide whether or not you're going to sacrifice yourself or you're going to take your rightful place as this avatar type thing. And my question to you is this you deciding not to sacrifice yourself and go ahead and take that $40 trillion, or what is this like exactly? I guess that's in my mind. That's what I'm asking, because kind of going off the more esoteric ideas, what you were talking about in the last one.
You didn't read the lawsuit.
I didn't know anything.
Okay,
I didn't know anything about
explaining the lawsuit. He wanted you to explain the lawsuit.
I wanted you to explain it because I didn't know anything about it.
He came on last second.
Okay. So the $40 trillion is 38 trillion is going back into the treasury for the American people. We have a $38 trillion debt according to the Rothschilds and the Federal Reserve. Okay. That 38 trillion is going to be placed back into the United States Treasury. The Federal Reserve is going to be dissolved, you guys. Okay. And it's going to be dissolved because it's a part of a global satanic racketeering ring. Okay. So their assets are going to be seized. As the president, I have the new constitutional republic of the United States of America. I have the ability to do that if I wanted to. But what I'm doing all of this for right now is to establish the credibility, to get you to understand that it's not about me sacrificing myself. I have, dude. If you would have gone through some of the things that I've gone through, if you would have understood,
I have no idea what you've gone through. I'm just, I
know. I'm about to get there.
Yeah.
I haven't had a private thought since 2018 because of psychotronic weapon abuse. And if you read the lawsuit, you'd understand what psychotronic weaponry is, the fact that it's very real, the fact that it's used on officials and celebrities, the fact that it's used on people in Washington, D.C., and that this has been documented. Okay? So when you understand that psychotronic weaponry basically makes your mind no longer private, then you will understand a level, just one level, to the abuses that I've suffered at the hands of this government. And I've also
this started after you decided, like, I'm done running the country. I'm done with this.
No, that's not. No. This happened in 2018. Okay. This happened after I was contacted by the NSA and asked to help them with whatever issues they needed help with.
Is that a Maduro, Nino? You're on mute. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm a cigar guy myself. I don't have any, but
Nino, you're on mute.
The Havana. John Rich gave it to me. The country singer gave it to me at his house. So I was like, right about now is a good time to light up a cigar.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. This is getting intense. It's getting intense, bro.
So let's break this down. I'm going to try to do it as simple as I can, okay? The 40 trillion, 38 goes back into the treasury. And we're going to do what JFK was talking about doing, where we're going to mint a single coin, and then we're going to prescribe the amount of dollar value that is in the debt to that single only specific, that one coin. And then we're going to put that in the treasury, and we're going to basically void the debt. Okay. In that regard, we're going to actually have $38 trillion surplus, but then another 1 trillion is going to go to rebuilding the infrastructure in the United States, building a better infrastructure that is going to run parallel to this other system, reinvigorate this other system, and then cause the other system to fade away in the presence of the new system, making the old one obsolete. And then the other 1 trillion is for me. Yeah, because these people tried to kill me and they made my life absolutely miserable for the last several years. They've made my family's lives miserable. They've harassed me and my family. They have harassed the American people. They, like I said, they did try to take my life more than once. So yeah, that 1 trillion, that's going to be for me. And it's not about
have they responded yet, Jake?
No, because I haven't sent them the summons. I just put out the tweet that I just got the summons paperwork. So now I get to.
You got any publicity on this besides my show?
Yeah, the Independent and the Daily Mail ran a story about it.
But you haven't done a podcast. This is your first podcast?
Uh-huh.
All right, I want my 10 million.
Well, I mean,
so does
you're going to be free.
Yes, I want at least slide me a quick million. You know what I'm saying? You won't even miss it.
Your freedom. And
I want to be vice president.
You're gonna get a chance to actually live free. Now, here's the thing. What we're also gonna do is have a new Continental Congress. Constitutional Congress. Okay, where we get together and we decide what we're going to omit from the old system and what we're going to include in the new one. So we're going to go back to the basic Bill of Rights, Constitution, the fundamentals of the country. And then from there, we're going to pick the laws that we want, like cherry pick, to include in this new Constitution and create new amendments. So, for example, the amendment abolishing slavery, right? Or like the Civil Rights Act, or, women's ability to vote. These are things that are, of course, keep that in there. But then there's other things like a single bill voting law, or term limits for congressmen and staff, or abolition of lobbying, or insider trading for congressmen and staff. Like getting rid of all that stuff, putting that stuff in this new Constitution so that we actually have a really simple system, and that the federal system stays small the way that it's supposed to. And here's the other part. As we do this, the agencies, the federal government that it's all made of, that whole thing will slowly be chipped away at over time. And eventually it's all going to go back to the states the way that it's supposed to. And the states are going to end up embodying the power that was given to the federal government unconstitutionally.
So it takes money to keep up the legal battle, right? I would assume. Do you have like a GoFundMe or something like that people donate to?
No, I'm not. I don't want people's money, dude. I just want their time and their attention, and I want their voice. I want them to stand up with me, because, dude, it's like that painting where all those people have the elites playing the Monopoly on their backs, and it says all we have to do is stand up, and the little game is over. That's what we're talking about here, bro. Okay, because this lawsuit, look at it like this. Okay, the court of public opinion is the highest court in the land. If everybody gets behind me and says, yeah, the shaman's my president, fuck Donald Trump, dude won't release the Epstein client list, dude's keeping us in debt to the Fed, dude is over there playing kissies and footsie with Netanyahu and dropping bombs on Iran, okay? So clearly this system is not for America. All the people have to do is say, Shaman's my president, bro, and I will be their president better than anybody ever has before. They just have to join the new Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. They just have to understand the profundity behind the good code that I've entered into the bad coded system that will enable all of us to use these loopholes that I found within the system to escape this quote unquote debt and actually reverse the whole monopoly board. In our favor, not my favor, in our favor, America's favor.
I'll give it to you, man. You've made a big impact on, I'm pretty sure your image of you with the horns and the spear and stuff will probably, who knows how many years from now, people will still be sharing that image. My question to you, because I mean, like Nino, I'm sure would agree with everything you're saying. We need to give power back to the people, all of those things. Let's say I'm with you. Like, let's say let's do this. You're the president. What is my first step as a citizen underneath the presidential leadership of Jake look like?
Become self-governed. Simple as that. You don't need me to tell you what to do. If you need the president to tell you what to do as a citizen, then you haven't done your American history homework. You don't know what the Constitution's about or what the Declaration of Independence is for. Okay, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help people.
Let's say I'm already past that step. Let's say I'm decided to be self-governed. Let's say I'm there. What next?
Teach other people to be self-governed. Teach people how you did it. Teach people to be self-sufficient. Arm yourselves with knowledge and with firearms. Okay? Arm yourself. Dude, you know what kind of country I want to see? I want to see a grassroots country of well-armed, well-informed, healthy, strong people. I want to see a generation of warrior poets that have doctorates in numerous respective fields that they're experts in. And if you think that we can't get there, then you're wrong and you've been lied to. Because the system is so bad, not because it's broken, but because it's by design, which means we can go the other way with it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. When you say, what do we do? What you do is you figure out how you're getting fucked and you stop getting fucked.
I got to say right here, Shaman for president, baby. I'm in.
And Shaman is my president. Shaman is my
president, baby. Yeah. How's that? I love it. What about you, John? Is Shaman your president?
Hey, if you wear the headset, bro. You gotta wear the headdress,
dude. That's
otherwise,
it.
Yeah.
You have it with you?
First day in the White House, I will. But here's the thing, and this is something else you got to keep in mind, all right? In the lawsuit, it says DC is no longer the capital, all right? Phoenix, Arizona is the capital of the new constitutional republic of the United States of America. And I think it's befittingly so that the new capital would be Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, and I also think it's befittingly so because the Arizona Capitol is built on capital ley lines. It is built on the ley lines, just like DC.
That's right.
Okay, and we also have two guns.
Make a Sedona then.
Well, Sedona is the spiritual capital of the world, but that's neither here nor there, my friend. The idea here is that the system moves the way that we tell it to because the system is there to control us, right? The system is there to govern us and tell us what to do. But that's only because we don't understand how the system works. So when I put this good code into the bad system, it's equivalent to the neutralization of the bad code, and it's an opportunity for everybody to start over. Now, here's the thing. If you all choose to laugh at me and just let it go and blah, 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 and you guys want to stay loyal to it, but are taking your money and sending it to Ukraine and Israel, then go ahead. Be my guest. I'll sit back and I'll wait and I'll watch. And then eventually you all come to your senses. Okay. Soon, these lawsuits are going to be mailed out to people, to these institutions. And soon we're going to see how they respond. And I'm going to document all of it. I promise you that. Hopefully, we won't have to go to court. Hopefully, they'll just say, you know what? You're right. You're right. Here you go. But good luck with that, right? They're not going to follow me into my delusion if they don't have to, right? So I'll see their ass in court, and then I'll really make a mockery of the system because I got the receipts, bro. All you need is like Eco Health Alliance, the diffuse paper, the diffuse documents. All you need is the truth about things like Operation Paperclip or Operation Mockingbird, or even the Smith Modernization Act and everything that happened of these things. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's the word.
No. But I was just going to say, I think, I don't know, John, I mean, do you have any more questions? I think he said his piece. I don't know. I $40 trillion sounds like a good number to me, dude. Fuck it.
I mean, look, all I got to say is this, dude. Like, I hope and I pray for you. Like my hat says, pray. I pray that, whatever God's plan for you is, happens in your life, man. I don't know what to say about all this. It's overwhelming, wild information. I never thought I'd be on a podcast with the real president, actually, the shadow president that's advising. The
shadow president, the capital shaman, baby.
And the shaman in general. I'm cool. It's cool to be on here, to be honest with you. I mean, if I would, anything's better than what we got going on. I think, like, I feel like Trump has done a really good job personally, and maybe I don't know very much. I really don't. And I think he pardoned you, right? Am I correct in saying that? So he at least has some kind of a force behind him, right?
Well, I mean, he needed somebody to run the country.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Actually, let's take
I
some
appreciate
super
the
chats
time,
right now. Is that
gentlemen.
cool with you, Jake?
Yes.
What's that, sir?
Can we take some super chats real quick? People have questions.
Yeah, please. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Samaj, yes, I've seen you in the general's tent or ringside as well. So King Bao is going after the big platforms too. All right. Next one. You don't sue the president. You sue those at the, what is that? Top. Got you.
Yes,
Got you.
I know.
Yep.
That's why I included all
That's
the
why he's doing
banks.
Next question. Texas small town. Thank you, mods. Thank you, David. You're welcome. Next one. Beverly Adams. You can do all the right things at the wrong time and still sink the ship. He does not get the part of strategy called timing. No restraint. Bull in a china shop.
What do you think about that one?
What do you think
What
about
do
that
I think
one?
about that? I think it's hilarious. Dude, I've been waiting for over 17 years for this. I know what I'm doing. Thanks, though.
She has another comment. All facts, no common sense, no sense of war strategy. Bull in a china shop. Beverly Adams.
I think that might be something that's meant to be inverted, because if you read the lawsuit, you'll see how it is actually quite the opposite. It is very much a form of war strategy. There's a lot of common sense in it, and it is all facts. And it is a bull in a china shop for sure, guys.
All right, next. Oh, is that it? Alex, you there?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys?
So, you got any questions for
Alex.
Jake? That's a hell of a podcast. We should Shaman Jake for president. Hey, why not? Shit, $40 trillion. Fuck it. Why not $100 trillion?
Yeah. Just go all out. Get all the Bitcoin
That
too.
way I can get my trillion.
Well, you guys, I don't think you've been through what I've been through.
That's true.
Trust me, it's worth
That's
$1
true.
trillion, dude. Because, like, imagine never having a private thought. How much would you pay to keep your thoughts private?
Trillions. 40 trillion. There
Hey,
you
dude,
go.
remember,
40
38 trillion is going back in the treasury. Alex, did you want to talk too, bro? You're here. I mean,
No,
Yeah,
just popping
he
in,
always comes in towards the end of the show, says what's up.
just saying hi. Yeah, no,
How'd
Jake.
the show go? This is what he does.
Yeah, no, it was good, man. I was listening in the back and just taking it all in and kind of.
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot.
It's a lot, Jake. Jake, like you said, you're a bright guy, and I mean, you have a lot of information, and there's a lot going on. You throw a lot of stuff out there, so I encourage anybody to just listen with an open ear, an open heart.
And the lawsuit's public. Anybody can read it, obviously, right? So this is
it's on my Twitter.
And
too.
my,
Like,
to
you
my
can go
bad, I
and
didn't read it, but I knew you were going to talk about it on here. I wanted to, what the fuck? It's all good.
Hey,
Guys-
it's all good, bro. I'm just
Guys,
teasing
I love
a
you,
little
dude.
bit.
But I got to get out to Sedona and see you, bro. John, I got to see you too. We got to meet in person. Alex, I got to meet you in person someday too, man.
Yeah, we'll do that.
this
Yeah,
is cool.
sooner or later.
Yeah,
So
bro.
Shaman Jake, man, Capital Shaman for president. He is my president, folks. Like and
brother.
share this, get the word out. This is, hey, this is controversial, but it's big for him and it's big for all of us. And let's see if he can drive this home, baby. Thank you, Jake, for coming on, and John, thanks again for coming on. Alex, thank you. Love all of you guys. And tomorrow morning, I'll be live in the morning, folks, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Coming at you live, baby. All right, Jake, peace. All right.